Hello and welcome to my tiny kitchen. I am so excited that you are here because, you know, I've had big kitchens and I've had small kitchens. I've had fancy kitchens and I've had drab kitchens. I've had kitchens that I got to remodel and design myself, and then I've had kitchens that just are come as you are and you got to work with what you have. So bottom line is they all do the trick. So even though I have a tiny kitchen that I can like touch everything at once and standing in the middle, and you know it gets crowded with one more person comes in here, that's okay. I have my little kitchen and I can do everything that I need to do in this space. And so we're maximizing it. Today we are making a super favorite twist on a comfort food. We are making a dairy-free, meat-free, full of flavor shepherd's pie. And it is such a family favorite of ours. So let me share it with you. The only thing that I've done so far is I have a pot of water on the stove almost reaching its boiling point, and I've just washed a bunch of veggies that I want to use for this. Now I have a standard recipe that I will include in this video, but let me just say that whenever I go to make this shepherd's pie, whatever veggies I have on hand and whatever sounds good that day is what goes into it. So today I'm going to add a couple of extra things, and then your recipe tastes a little bit different and maybe a little bit better each time. My water's boiling, so the very first thing that I want to do is I want to chop my potatoes. Now, I prefer to leave the potato skins on because to me it just gives mashed potatoes in general, but shepherd's pie crust even more flavor, and that's where all the fiber and a lot of the extra nutrients are anyway, so why get rid of those? So the great thing about this recipe in particular is you can literally just start it. There's not a lot of prep time. You can just start with your hot water, then we'll start with a skillet, and you can just go from there and chop as you go and be making progress the whole time instead of waiting to actually start cooking anything until everything is already prepped. So I love that about this recipe. Now, it may surprise you, but I am no chef. I don't even play one on TV, so bear with me. My chopping skills are not good, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. All right, so we have our potatoes boiling. I like to do my best to dirty as few dishes as humanly possible anytime I'm fixing anything. So you will notice that I use one cutting board, I use one knife. I try to really maximize my tools, not only because of my small space, but really I do it even whenever I have a larger space to work in. I just like the least amount of cleanup possible. So that's what's important to me. For my shepherd's pie today, in addition to the potatoes that I'm going to mash for the topping, I also chunked up and froze pumpkin from the fall this year. And so it's already peeled, it's already in chunks. I just defrosted it, and so I'm going to put some of these pumpkin chunks in with my potato chunks as well to give another creamy aspect to the potato crust. And then I'm also going to add some of the pumpkin chunks to the mixture in the filling as well. So we're going to kind of spread that love around a little bit, but that's a fun thing to do. When the kids are carving jack-o'-lanterns in the fall, I always try to save as much of the chunk of the pumpkin as humanly possible, as much as I can, And I also always bake the seeds because we love pumpkin seeds, and that way you've got them roasted and ready, and it's a great snack. So now, the next step is we're going to take our olive oil and a little bit of salt, and we're going to start chopping and sauteing. I heard the other day that using olive oil and salt is actually a cheat, but I'm okay with it. So I just have a yellow onion. I buy the sweets, but really whatever your preference is, you know, this is your recipe, it's your family that's going to eat it. So whatever you like best is what I recommend using. I like this recipe because it is meat and dairy free. It, you know, is really appealing to a wide range. It's great for family gatherings, for big family gatherings when you have, you know, everyone together and maybe some people are on a special diet and whatnot. This is one of those things that unless they are only eating meat, everyone is going to love, everyone is going to be able to eat and enjoy. It's an all-inclusive recipe. Now with shepherd's pie, I really like my vegetable chunks to just be super huge and chunky, and I like to be able to taste all the flavors. They blend together nicely, but I also just like to be able to pick out all the chunks of veggies too. So I like to leave things pretty largely cubed. I don't always do it like this, but today for our mix, I bought just a mixed vegetable pack of fresh veggies. And so I'm just going to kind of chunk some of those up smaller. So they're still chunky, but a little bit more bite-sized. Get as much color as possible into the meals that I prepare for the family. You know, just spread the love around, get a little bit of extra nutrition. The kids love it. But even whenever I include vegetables that they don't necessarily usually like, if I can sneak it into something like this, they get those nutritional benefits without even thinking about the fact that they're eating something that they don't particularly love, so it works out well for both of us. Yum! When you start with some of the more dense veggies that you have, then the sauteing times out beautifully and works out really nicely for our timing and our recipes. And it's just all good. Oh, that's so pretty and colorful. Do my green onions now, and I'm going to include the stalks as well as the whites, just for extra flavor. That is the key. Believe it or not, we're actually not huge onion fans in my house, but you know, it just adds such a nice flavor when things are sauteed like this with onion. It brings out so many flavors that you might not taste otherwise, so you hate to exclude them. Gonna add some frozen peas. What shepherd pie without peas? And some frozen corn as well. That way that can start thawing and adding to the deliciousness of our flavors here. Look at all of this flavor that we've got already. Oh my goodness, it looks so good. I'm gonna add a bell pepper. I like the yellow ones just because of all the flavor pop that they add. Give her a little stir to our potato mixture. I'm going to add some of my pumpkin to this mix. Some big chunks of flavor there. Things are starting to soften up a little bit. Look at all of that great color. This is going to be such a healthy, hearty dinner. To add to the heartiness as well, I have prepared some black beans. This adds our protein, and it also just gives some sticking power. You can use canned black beans. I prefer to buy them dry and make them myself, so I have a little bit more control over the salt in them, but also just the flavor factor. I cooked this set of black beans in with some crushed red pepper and a little bit of spice to make it a little bit of a, give it a little bit of a kick today, just to add a little extra flavor to our dish. All right, we're gonna let those continue to do their magic. And I'm gonna cut up a tomato to go in with the mix. I always add the tomatoes last. They're so soft already and they just don't need a whole lot. And I don't want them to completely disintegrate and fall apart in my recipe, so I want that flavor without the mushiness. Now while my vegetables are sauteing and continuing to soften and my potatoes are still boiling and getting nice and soft so that I can mash them for the topping, I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 350 degrees. And we're going to do a cycle where first we bake the entire mixture at 350 degrees, and then towards the end we'll put it on broil for about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the dish size we use and the amount that we're working with. Also, if you would like, there is already a little bit of salt in my mixture, but this is the time when, if you would like to add some other seasonings, you are certainly welcome. Just whatever your family loves best, please add. I am going to add a little bit of garlic. I'm going to add the equivalent of two cloves of garlic. Garlic burns so easily, I always hate to add it too soon. Mix that in. I already baked my beans with a little bit of crushed red pepper, like I said, so I'm not going to add any more of that kind of thing, but I will add a little bit of ground black pepper and a little bit of crazy salt. Ooh, and actually some chives sound really good. That sounds good. That'll give another pop of freshness to our dish. If I had fresh basil in my garden right now, I would probably add that as well because I think basil goes so beautifully with so many things. So we're just going to continue to move this around and let it work its magic. I have pulled our sauteed vegetables, our filling, off of the heat for a little bit for it to just kind of, it's done sauteing, it's starting to soften. It's really a nice consistency where it's a little bit soft, but it's not falling apart. And our potato mixture here is starting to break apart. So this is ready to also pull off. So now we are going to deal with our topping mixture. We're going to strain our bowl. And then I am actually going to just put the potatoes back in my pot to mash them. If you prefer not to use your pot because you have a metal potato masher, totally understandable. Use another bowl, it's okay. This is your recipe. Now I'm going to use almond milk. If I weren't being vegan friendly and dairy free and all of that, I would use some butter as well and possibly some sour cream. But you know, I just am. I'm going to use almond milk and make this creamy and delicious. So I'm just going to get my masher. I'm going to mash the potato and pumpkin mixture. I want it to be a nice creamy consistency. Oh my goodness, this is looking so delicious. I'm going to add a little bit of crazy salt to the topping. And a little bit of crushed red pepper just for a little bit of kick. Now remember, I also left the peels on my potatoes. So I've got some peels going on. I've got the creaminess of the pumpkin mixture. I've just got a lot of flavor happening here and I'm super excited about it. Oh my word, that is looking so good. So we have our oven heated to 350 degrees. Now I am just going to take my baking dish. I am going to coat it with just plain old olive oil. And then I am going to, because I just kept throwing yummy vegetables in and because they all sounded so good, I ended up with a little bit of overkill for my family's recipe today. I'm serving about 4. So I'm going to have some extra sauteed vegetables, but that is just groovy with me because I will put the leftover sauteed vegetables aside. I'll use them for maybe a soup tomorrow and it'll be perfect. So much work will have already been done and it'll be a big win for my family. So I like to maximize those kinds of opportunities whenever possible. So I'm just going to scoop my filling mixture into my oiled baking dish and fill it up really nicely. I'm just going to spread this out really as evenly as I can. Get lots of good blended flavors in here. This looks so good and it smells wonderful. I'm going to fill that pretty well because we want that fluffy pie topping to be on top and have plenty of space for growth. All right, so I've still got some vegetables left to add to a soup or something tomorrow. that works fine. Now I'm going to start adding my creamy potato mixture to the top. So I'm just going to spoon this on here, right there on top. I'm not going to press it down a lot. I want it to stay light and fluffy. It's okay if there are some holes here and there and where the potato mixture is lets a little bit of the veggie mix through. No problemo. It looks like I made the perfect amount of topping here for my dish. Oh my goodness. Is this the ultimate comfort food or what? This is perfect. I love how the colors of that pumpkin also added so much to this. It looks so good. So good. And because I added some chives into the mix earlier, I think I'm actually going to add some chives on top as well, just as a pretty little garnish, but also because chives and potatoes go so well together. We are ready to put this in the oven and bake it for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to crank up the broiler and we're going to broil just until a little bit of a golden brown is happening on the tip tops of our potato mixture, and it's going to be delicious and ready to serve. So let's pop it in the oven. All right, final step. Our shepherd's pie has been in the oven for about 20 minutes on regular bake at 350, and then it's been in the oven for about 7 minutes on the broil setting. So now it's time to pull it out. Now the great news is, because I used so few dishes and things like that, while it was baking, I was able to get the dishes completely cleaned up. So once we enjoy this meal, there will be nothing left to clean, and I love that. There's nothing that irritates me more than to be so full of a wonderful meal and then come into a kitchen full of dirty dishes. So we've got that all checked off. Dinner dishes can go in the dishwasher and we'll be set. So let's pull it out and admire our handiwork. Baked to perfection. So I appreciate you joining me today for Marilyn's Tiny Kitchen. I hope that you enjoy this dairy-free, meat-free variation of a shepherd's pie. Till I see you again, I hope you're making it a great day.